Hey, black women. I just wanted to come and talk briefly about the black woman AJ in Ocala, Florida, who got shot through the door by the very racist, not racist, because racist you have to have power, racially prejudiced bigot that lived next door to her, 58-year-old, ugly, saggy skinned white woman. Now, black women, y'all got to remember, especially all you black women that's running around here calling for divestment and trying to tell black women to move into these white neighborhoods and etc. You got to remember that in America there is a very poor history between white people, both white men and women, and their unnatural, mentally ill hatred, unnecessarily so, of African people, African descendants, and everyone else of color, but especially us born here in America due to slavery, all the history of segregation, Jim Crow, and etc., right? So, hold on. So you got to remember that all these people are very hateful. They have mental issues, period. Anybody that just clearly has all this hatred, who's white, for black people, run around teaching other people to be hateful towards you, they have mental issues. Issues that you're not going to be able to put a dent in because there's just something wrong with them. So you should know in dealing with them, okay, that if you live in states like that where they have these laws for cowardly white people, because that's all stand your ground is. It's like, this goes back to slavery and then thereafter, where because they were such wicked people doing horrible things to black people, they didn't want to have an equal playing field because they knew that if everybody was able to fight back, they would get their asses whooped and they would lose everything that they so-called fought for, right? And so-called conquered. So they create these type of things to create an unfair advantage for themselves because they can't compete when everybody else has a fair chance or has the same opportunity as they do. So they have to make the pendulum higher on one side for them and lower for everyone else, right? So with this black woman, in my opinion, if she was living there in this apartment or wherever she was living in Florida next to this extremely bigoted white woman, and she's had all these problems according to the report for like 2 years, just leave. I mean, leave and then properly, like I tell y'all all the time, gear up. If you know you're dealing with a person like that who's gonna be a fucking coward because she's 58, she can't throw hands. So the only thing she can do is hide behind a gun. Now if you would buy your bulletproof vest and your shields and everything else, when people are acting stupid like that with you, it would give you more of an opportunity to have a winning chance. Because see, these people are not looking for you to be prepared to fuck them up back. They're always prepared to be the coward that does the thing that you least expect to best you when you're not considering somebody being a low-level snake, an underhanded snake. So this old raggedy white woman who is so hateful and has issues with black people, because that's how all white people in America are, whether they like you, dealing with you or not. Let them be free enough and they'll start calling you all types of names and telling you how they really feel because they have mental problems. And they teach each other to be just as sick as their ancestors and their current lynch partners today. They're all the same. Do not think they're not. So it's sad that this black woman had to lose her life because she didn't have to. If you know you got problems with a person, do not keep just dismissing that like you think it's gonna go away. It's not. When you have issues with people, if you don't really address them, they only escalate. So you guys are gonna have to, number one, stop listening to people telling you and you believing, convincing yourself that living around white people is a better area, because it is definitely not. Everywhere they are is horror, murder, and all types of damn tomfoolery you can't imagine. Like even here in New York City, most of the people live in the 5 boroughs because it is New York City. But in the extension of New York City is Nassau and Suffolk. We have everything different from them because people like to think, oh, it's a majority of white people. It's not. They just live in different areas, and because they live there, people want to act like it's a better place because they're there, but it's not. If you ever go to Nassau, you turn on their news, you will hear about killings, all types of crimes all day long. But you see, because those crimes are not committed by so-called, our skin is not black, our skin is brown, but African American people and others, they try to say that it doesn't exist when it actually does. I would dare to say they commit more crime than the inner city because they do it and no one reports on it. If they did the reports on them the way they did on us, you would see more reports on them every day than you do in the inner city or anywhere with people of color. Because they just have these whites have this level of entitlement where they actually feel like they could do whatever they want, whenever they want, and there's going to be no repercussions until somebody snatches their ass up or they end up going to jail. Case in point, just yesterday, I went to Target to buy a couple of supplemental gifts for my grandsons, right? So I'm shopping, I'm minding my business, and you know how Target has that price checker, the machine in the store. So I go over to the machine, looking at the machine, checking the toys, the prices of the toys, etc. So here's this very unfortunately ugly looking white woman with an empty cart coming down the aisle the opposite way that I'm in. So now mind you, she can get past, I'm not blocking her, it's ample room in Target. Automatically she goes into the, oh, I'm white and I'm sick in the head, I just don't like black people mode just because I have mental problems. She tries to time, because I'm looking at her, through my peripheral vision, because I will not hesitate to knock this bitch out, believe me. So I'm looking at her and I'm saying to myself, what is this stupid bitch about to do, right? So as I start to pull out, push my cart out of the aisle after checking the toy prices, she tries, now I see her doing it. This is how stupid she is. She tries to speed up so that she could push past me and smash my cart, because she's assuming that I'm going to push my cart out wide so she could try to go straight really fast and bang the cart and go forward, right? So what I did was, when she got just about close to me, I pushed the cart and pulled it back. I said, you a fucking asshole, aren't you? She looked, she was shocked, right? And she started walking real fast to get away, right? And it was some Hispanic people behind her. They started busting out laughing, right? And I'm like, yeah, she's a fucking idiot. I said, you saw that, right? I said, she really thought that me looking at her and knowing what the fuck she was about to do, I was going to actually play along with her. She's an idiot. And so she just kept walking. I ended up seeing her like another aisle or two over. And then she kept trying to, divert her eyes from me. But I'm like, yo, why are you so, I wanted to ask her so badly, why are you so fucking stupid? Like, why do you care about fucking with people that really could best you in every way? Like, do you want to get your ass kicked today? Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Leave people alone who are not fucking with you. Because believe me, 9 times out of 10, when you are a type person that goes around fucking around with people for no reason, when nobody's messing with you, you're going to get dealt with. This world has way too many people in it for you to be fucking around with everybody thinking everybody's a pussy. It is not going to happen. You're going to get fucked up. So she was just too stupid. And like I said, she's a perfect example of why you should always be on guard and on your toes with white people, period. But when it comes to black women, never let your guard down around white women, especially, or any other women, but especially them, because let me tell you something. Those women are really bugged out in the head. They really, first of all, white people don't think that slavery was an issue. They think that it was okay to do all those horrendously ridiculous crimes against humanity and to commit them like it was not a problem, right? Because we weren't supposed to be human, even though we're more human than the rest of y'all because we were here first. Good morning. So they have this sick belief because I don't know what's wrong with them people. I can't even begin to explain it to you. Many people besides me and world-renowned scholars have tried to explain why they're so sick in the head, and people still have not gotten it 100%, but they really have problems. They really think that black women from slavery to today actually enjoy being violated by their nasty, disgusting white male counterparts. And they can't let that shit go. They have never been able to let go of the fact that when it comes to their men, they prefer sexually dealing with black women. And they have a mental issue about it. They even have a mental issue about dealing with black males, which is why all these people are so obsessed with this mythical BBC shit. Like, it's insane. And all of this comes from people being allowed at one point in time in this country to be as degenerate and as savage as possible and get away with it because they decided to write being cannibals, slavers, and murderers and serial killers into the country's law. So in doing that, you know, they could do whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted, which made them very, very happy, you know? So you got to remember all that stuff, and you got to remember that they always hold resentment towards you for no reason, because they go around to this day teaching their children and everyone else, whether they're grown, dumbass people that should know better not to listen to white people, or if they're little children who get indoctrinated by them, oh, hate black, hate black. Everything's anti-black, anti-black, anti-black. Go ahead. Just remember to fuck with certain people at your own risk, because everybody ain't going to be so easily duped to walk up to a redneck's door and get shot through it, you know? And then there might be some people where even if you shoot through that door, they still going to come through and deal with you. So it's just ridiculous. But overall, black women, keep your guard up around those people, and if you can, it would behoove you to stay away from them. It really would. Shit, be like the Indian people. The Indian people are the smartest demographic in America. I'm gonna tell you, I'm dead serious. They are, because they stick to their own kind. Even though it's part of their culture, they rarely date other people, right? Even though I have my oldest nephew from my oldest brother, his wife was from India. But the point is, they very rarely do that, right? And then when they come to America, they stick to their own lives. They stay in predominantly their own communities. Their children go to school. They're decent. You know, every now and then a few of them get drunk and shit and have a couple of brawls where they live, but they're human. They're not going to be 100% perfect. But the thing about them is they mostly stick to themselves. And whatever stereotypes and shit like that they have, and they do have them about black people, they don't run around fucking with black people. They don't. And even when they're hardcore, staunch, fucking racially prejudiced bigot, like how my mother-in-law was before she actually got to deal with me and had no choice but to deal with me because her son, right? And my children. Hey, it is, and that's crazy how people could be. Now, she's a woman from India married to a Caribbean man, right? And this woman did not like black people, but she liked her husband only, right? And that happens all the time, because even Ku Klux Klan members have children, black children, right? What's that dude's name? Newt somebody. He had a black daughter. So anyway, over time, even though she was so hateful, right? She changed. And then when I finally, started talking to her about how crazy she was in the beginning, She apologized and she told me because that was she's been taught that the colorism thing from her own people, and then going to college, schooling, social settings that her family, went in circles with whites. They taught her these things about us. And my whole thing is like, what do y'all have independent thought and think for yourselves? Like, if you know the history of America and you cannot sit there and try to side with white people on slavery because you know it was fundamentally wrong, you know it's spiritually wrong, it's humanitarily wrong, they're just wrong altogether. And just because you want them to keep control of America, and believe me, it's all about your want and the indoctrination of you believing they're superior to people, because any day you decide in this country to vote all these people out of office, stop dealing with them in ways that you deal with them now, they will be a second class citizen like every fucking body else. And the scary thing is they fucking know that, which is why these white people fight so hard to do the things they do. Like with this white woman right here in Ocala, Florida, when she shot through the door like that and killed that black woman, she did that shit intentionally. And you know she did. Because you got an ongoing family feud, right, for 2 years, and then you throw shit at children she could have literally killed one of those kids. She threw an ice skate. That shit has a blade at the bottom of the skate. So let's say she would have threw it with enough force and it hit the kid in the head, the throat, or whatever, that kid would have been dead, right? All right. She don't care, because to her, that person, well, that little boy is not even a person, and his life doesn't mean anything, because in her sick, mentally ill white mind, just for being white, not that she has any legitimate mental issue, but when it comes to a black person, all of a sudden, she's totally irrational and out of her mind, literally. She feels like she's justified in doing that because historically this country has done nothing but hate, kill, massacre, and dehumanize black people. So she feels like, oh, I'm going along with suit. I'm going along with tradition. I'm going along with legacy. So she feels like it's nothing wrong with it. And then she has a form of legacy with this stand your ground bullshit. It's normal for people to go knock on somebody's door or even bang on that shit if you try to hurt their children. If you're a parent that cares anything about your kids, of course, you're going to go knock on somebody's door or even bang. But to try to break the door down, honestly, if a person went over there to like really hurt somebody, they would bring things with them if they really was trying to break a door down. Because everybody knows that your hand and feet alone, just banging on a door, is not going to knock it down. It's not going to break it down. You either got to do some serious kicking, or you got to have some type of ram to get through the door, or you have an explosive, a liquid explosive you put on the door that will blow that shit up, and then you walk right through the door and handle your fucking business. It depends on what's going on, but for this woman to talk about she was trying to break down the door, it's a lie. And then I'm surprised there was no video footage of this shit nowadays with everybody with all the Ring cameras and the CCTV everywhere. I'm surprised there was no footage. But the worst part about this whole situation that people are not thinking about is that little boy who survived and who actually stood next to his mama and saw his mama get shot through a door by some old, cantankerous ass, ugly, wrinkled white bitch simply because she was white and they were black. And all that shit with the reports, because they gave about 3 reports already on this same case where the news reporter was saying that the name calling of the N-word and etc. that this white woman was calling these children was not confirmed. It's confirmed, because come on, stop fucking playing. This is what they do all the time. They do it because they think it's fun, because they think that we give a fuck about them to that extent. We don't. We just would like to take an opportunity to put a foot to their ass for fucking with us, period. So it's really crazy how these people do all this foul shit. White people, they violate other people. They harass other people, and then when other people get them for what they do or come back at them, then they want to run and cry victim. They're really sick. And I really hope that this lady goes to jail, because it's not a crime to knock on anybody's door. It's not even a crime to bang on somebody's door or kick their door. That's harassment. That ain't no threat for your life. That's harassment. And you for harassment, you're supposed to call the police, and the police supposed to come out and talk to people and set them the fuck straight. Period. This lady, she just used her evil, hating ass, mentally ill, only because she has an unnatural hatred towards black people, to kill this woman intentionally. And now she need to take her ass to jail, stand trial, be found guilty, and get her ass beat every day in the prison system the way she should. Because like Beretta back in the days, if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, it used to be a police show. I'm being a comedian now. They had a theme song that was like, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Oh yeah, that's her situation right now. Because believe me, when they took her out of that apartment and was doing that perp walk with her in handcuffs, you should have seen the, oh shit, I fucked up look on this woman's face. Simply because she actually felt like she had thought that shit through. She felt like, oh, I thought this through. I'm going to fuck with this lady's kids. I'm going to try to hurt one of them. And then I'm going to do something else. And then when she comes over here, I know what she's going to do. I know she's going to bang on the door and all this type of shit. And then I'm going to shoot her. That's exactly what this bitch did. And that's how they do all the time. Because they always think they could outsmart people. How you outsmarting people when you ain't even half as smart as all the rest of the people? It's just you always come at people with guns blazing, literally. And other people are coming at you to do what normal people do, which is either yell at you, cuss you out, or grab you and physically deal with you because of what you have done. Most people are not coming to kill you literally right off the bat, the way they approach other people. Like, and it's real. Think about the woman in the Target store that I told you about with me. Now, she didn't know me. My presence and my beautiful blackness just offended her. So right away, because she's sick in the head, she's white, and she gotta hate black people. She just felt like, oh, when this black woman tries to push her cart out into the aisle, I'm gonna go out of my way to intentionally hit her cart and smash in it and keep going past. What? Like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, seriously, y'all, think about how crazy you gotta be to do shit like that. And this is where all that passive aggressive, ignorant shit comes from. You know, like when they talk about microaggressions and all that, this is where all this comes from. Like, they're not normal like other people. I don't like a lot of people. I could sit next to a person I cannot fucking stand, right? Would like to just reach out, choke the literal shit out of them, right? But if these people are not doing nothing to me, I gotta handle my own fucking issues. If this person is not doing anything, I don't have no right to fuck with them because they sitting next to me, standing next to me, or I gotta work with them, or they just existing. And I'm like, I'm so fucking upset that you're existing. That's how ignorant white people are. And this is why this type of shit will continue unless you start dealing with them appropriately. Like, seriously, before all of that built up to her getting shot, I would have just moved. Or I would have just been like dealing with this chick another way to let her know, look, I'm not playing with you. You could try that stand your ground shit with me, but I'm going to definitely stand my ground against you. And I don't think you're going to be fast enough. So you could enter at your own risk. But I'm not fucking with you the same way you think you're not fucking with me. I can show you better than I can tell you. So it's like, you got to start dealing with them like that. And stop with this shit where y'all really be out here living in this world, in these areas, thinking that it's fucking kumbaya and that we pass racial issues and these white people are still not mentally sick and exactly like their ancestors, and exactly to this day, the same type of people as they were 400 or 500 years ago. They're the same fucking people, the same people, because they're still doing the same shit to this day, the same. So be careful, black women. Stop living in this world delusionally, thinking that because you listen to certain people on YouTube or wherever telling you you have allies in their communities. You do not. These people have an innate hatred of you because they teach it to each other. They teach it to each other and they perpetuate this hatred as white people towards black people, so much so that I dare say it has literally become part of their genetic makeup. There's something mentally wrong with them. They're crazy. Straight up and down. There's no reason for you to hate other people just because they look different from you, or because they have a longer history than you, a wealthier history than you. That shit, it just doesn't make any sense. But that's how sick they are. And they do that with every type of person, every other type of person. They don't really like each other, but they will deal with each other and come together with each other to hurt other people. And throughout the history of this country, you see it. You see the oppression and suppression they do to every group of people. So why y'all dumbasses follow along with them is beyond me. You continuing to prolong the state of this world longer than it needs to be, when you should get some fucking nuts, get some courage, get a heart, stand against all this injustice and inequality that they dish out to every type of people, and make this fucking place a better world. That's it. And that goes for white people too. For those of y'all that claim you're not like the others, get up off your ass and finally do what you need to do to get rid of the others. Stop being complacent in the same shit and complicit in the things they do every day throughout this world. Because when you sit there and you don't do anything about a person you know is doing something wrong, you're just as wrong as they are. You're just as wrong because you don't do shit about it. Silence means that you agree. Silence means that you comply with what's going on. Silence means that you complicit, you with it. You with all the shits they do because you sitting there watching them instead of going, why don't you cut that dumb shit out? Cut that the fuck out. Or when the police show up, tell the fucking truth. No, this person is absolutely lying. I recorded it. Or I was a witness to them being the primary aggressor. Do the right fucking thing. And if you can't do the right thing, shut the fuck up, step to the side, because you part of the problem. End of story. But black women overall, stop letting your guard down around all these people, and especially white people. They do not like you. These white women spent hundreds of years killing you at their whim, beating you half to death at their whim, disforming you at whim. Like, y'all really need that, really need to read that book about how ignorant and vicious these white women can be and are. Like, what was that book called? They Were Her Property. Like, these women do things that I guess other women wouldn't even think about doing because they have a level of jealousy and insecurity about themselves that is incredible. Like, there, I remember I had posted it. I don't know if it's still on my page, but I had posted a video about a short from the book, They Were Her Property, where this white woman and her young daughter took a young black girl slave, and you know how they had those old-fashioned rocking chairs, right? And put the girl's, because the girl was good looking, put her face underneath the lifted or circular part of the rocking chair blade and pushed down on the girl's face with all of her weight. And the little girl was screaming. I think she was a teenage girl because she was young, screaming and flailing around because of the pain. And do you know, she called other family members to hold this girl still while she pressed more her weight on this girl's face to the point where they disfigured the girl's face, where the girl's face was contorted. Like her jawbone was sent the other way and the rest of her face. Like her face was, this piece was over here and the rest of her face was like this. Because she pressed so hard on the part of her jaw that it shifted her whole fucking face. And because back then they didn't have plastic surgery and doctors that knew anything about surgery for real, because she survived, because most times if you fuck with your jaw to a certain extent, you can die, right? She was disfigured to the point where she had to put a veil on because she was so nasty to look at because of this white woman. This is the type of shit they do. They do this type of shit, and it is just, they nothing but the devil. When people call them that, it is true, because no other people act the way they do. Another person, I can understand if they have an issue with you, they angry with you, they fighting with you, they warring with you, they just straight kill you. They're not mostly going out here trying to maliciously antagonize people. Other people are just not crazy like them, not fucking ignorant. They do like everybody else. They vent, they get their shit off, they fight, they hurt, they do, and they keep going. These people, these whites, they want to stand there and relish in shit. Like, it is really something wrong with them. Really and truly. I don't care what anybody says. It doesn't make any sense to, you sitting there harboring all this hatred towards a person simply because of what they are. You calling the children Ners and all this type of shit. These are children. I don't like white people. You'll never catch me out there harassing children. What for? I don't like Hispanics either. You're never going to catch me harassing their children. What for? There are a few other people on the list too, but I would never be out there harassing anybody. I don't care that much to harass people. People have, you know what? Because I'm not mentally ill. I know that people have a right to exist in this world without my permission, because I don't control shit in this world. No person does. So you came into this world by way of the universe saying you were supposed to exist. So there it is. That is your your confirmation, your authentication. It's whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. But you got a right to exist. You don't need anybody else's permission. They need to learn. These white crazy people, they need to learn that. And especially these women, because they're bugged out. They're so bugged out, it's crazy. They just hate because, I don't know. I really don't know. Because I have never been a person to be worrying about other people in comparison to me. Because I just don't do it. They, on the other hand, they worry about everybody in comparison to them. But then, like I said the other day, when you don't really compare to everybody else, and you were less than the bare minimum in comparison to everybody else, I guess you would be obsessively mentally ill with other people. Because it doesn't make any sense. Like, this old 58-year-old woman, you don't have no hobbies, you don't have no job, you don't have no family, you don't have nothing else. Not even common sense or logic or contentment within yourself to occupy all of your time throughout the day, that you go out your way to worry about hating on somebody just because you feel like you have an obligation to do it. Y'all black women better be safe and stay away from these white people out here. There's something wrong with them. And the more that all of these other type of people of color vote for these Republicans and they co-sign all this anti-blackness because they stupidly think that white people care about them and want to only do stuff to us as black American people, you're going to have a lot of this shit kick up, dust about, and be ridiculous for a while. So be prepared and always be on the lookout for it. But eventually, one of these days, the rest of these people, so-called people of color out here, especially Hispanics, are going to learn that white people do not like you. They do not think you're one of them, and they use you as a pawn against black people because that's just what they do. But you will be the first people, and Hispanic people, I guess, are learning that right now, that they will take all their frustrations out with whenever they get the first opportunity. So you need to stop aligning yourself with them if you have any sense. You really do. See y'all later.